Hi everyone and welcome back to the Crafty Yellow Camper, and I'm here today with yet another Christmas card, but a nice quick and easy one that doesn't involve very much stamping at all, that you can whip up in batches if you get yourself organised. So it's a triple fold card, and what I'm going to do is show you how to put this together. It's really simple, but it looks quite fancy when it's folded. It's very slightly smaller than a standard C6 card, but it is the same length, so it will fit into a C6 envelope perfectly fine. And it's a good way of using up your DSP or designer series papers. As I said, really quick and easy to put together. So let's get started. So the first thing I've got is a piece of cherry cobbler, because it coordinates with my card stock, and it is half of an A4 sheet cut widthways. Okay, so that measures 14.8 by 10 and a half, I think. Let's just check that. I don't want to give you the wrong dimensions. 14.8, no, ignore me, 14.8 by the width of an A4 sheet. Okay, so we need to do some scoring. So we need to score at 2.5 centimetres. You'll be pleased to know that unlike some of my other videos, this is actually in centimetres and not a mixture of inches and centimetres, which I have a bit of a bad habit of doing. So 2.5 centimetres at 10.5 centimetres. Obviously, make sure you use your scoring blade and not your cutting blade. I mean, if you've got a Stampin' Up trimmer like I have, it's the lighter blade. 10.5 centimetres and 17.5 centimetres. So you will need to open up your extendable arm for this. So 17.5 is there. Okay, and that's all the scoring done for this card. So I'm just going to move my trimmer out of the way. Sorry if you could hear that swinging and banging into things. I have it hung up in my craft room near my desk so I can grab it. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to fold and burnish our scores. Now, in order to show you how it's scored, I'm going to open the card out. Oh, I've got mine the wrong way around. There we go. Like that. So you'll notice one end is wider and then there. So what we're going to do, we're going to fold this end up, so that turns that into a valley fold. Okay, we're going to fold this end, this score, in half, and that turns that into a mountain fold. So we've got a valley, a mountain, and then this one is also a mountain fold. So I'm just going to flip that over so I can score and burnish that. And we have got our card like that. So when it's folded, you just give this central fold a bit more of a burnish, just to get that to lay nice and flat. So when it's folded, it folds, the left hand side folds over with this flap up, and then the right hand flap folds over that one like that. Okay, I'm just going to move that card out of the way again so I can talk you through the papers. So I've gone ahead and I've cut my pieces of paper. You don't need to watch me cutting paper. And I've got a piece of basic white, which is going to go on this right hand panel here, and that is going to give us somewhere to stamp a greeting and write, and that is 7.5 centimetres wide by 14.3 long, which will give us a slight border. I'm just going to move that one out of the way now because we'll stamp on that before we stick it in, so we don't mess it up. Now I've got some more pieces of designer series paper here, and I've got lots of friends that love cats and dogs, so that's what we're going to use. And because of all of our design series papers are double-sided, you can always flip it over to give you a little bit of contrast. So you can see this is actually out of a different sheet of paper. So this is a really good way of using up your scraps from your 12 by 12 designer series papers. Okay, so we're going to use the green side on that one. So what we need to do, if I open up my card again, you'll see. So on this panel here, we have some designer series paper. We have some more on here. we have a piece on this flap here, and we also have a piece on here, so that when it opens up, it's all covered in cardstock. So what we're going to do, we've got a very narrow strip, and this fits on here, okay, and that is cut at 2 centimeters wide by 14.3 long, and I'm just going to add some glue to the back of that. As I said, all of our designer series paper is double-sided, with there are very few exceptions to that. There are the odd ones that aren't, but on the whole, most of them are. Okay, and we're going to add that on there. Now, if you have got whole sheets of designer series paper, you can go along and cut these so that they are all perfectly lined up. But if you're using your scraps up, try and cut it so that you're not getting half a dog decapitated on each page. So I think what we're going to do is put that green stripy one there, and then we'll probably put this one here, and then this one can go along here, and it isn't lined up, but it matches in enough. So I'll talk you through the sizes of these next. So the other thinnest strip is 1 centimetre wider, so this is 3 centimetres by 14.3, and that is going to go on this piece at the front here. So I'm just going to add some glue. Oh, goodness me. Okay, and that is going to fit on here like that. And basically I always take 1/2 centimetre off the size of my panels to get the DSP with a very small border all the way round. Okay, and then this piece is going to fit in here because that's going to be on the inside of the card. I mean, we could put those dogs on the goldfish, but for a little bit of contrast, I'm going to use the... I absolutely love these papers. They're from the, I want to say Playful Pets, but they're not. The Playful Pets, I think, was the set that's in the annual catalogue, and that did have papers to go with it, but those papers retired when it jumped over from a seasonal catalogue into the annual catalogue. And then they brought out these Christmas papers. I think it goes with the Sweet Stocking set because there are some animals, cats and dogs, in the Sweet Stocking set. And then this piece is going to go here. I must admit, although I have friends that do love cats and dogs, and I actually have a cat myself, I didn't buy the stamp set. I had to curtail my spending. I think a lot of us are in that position this year. There was so many wonderful sets that I wanted to have from the autumn seasonal for Christmas, but I was careful this year and didn't spend too much. But a good way of still being able to use some of the images is to buy the designer series papers. So whilst I love to have a whole suite, if I can't afford in my budget to get all of the stamp sets, buying a pack of the designer series papers is a good way to get some of those images, and you can always cut them out. Yes, they're not the same as the stamped images, but you know, this cat with her antlers would look quite nice cut out. Okay, so we stuck that piece on there, so that piece folds back there, and that piece will fold in like that. And then all we need to do is add a greeting to our middle panel, and then we can adhere that in there. Now in this one I used Friends Like You Make This Season Special because I have some friends that have a golden retriever, so that card will be winging its way to them this Christmas. And I'm just looking for the stamp set that I had out for the greetings, and it's this one, Christmas to Remember. It's a cling stamp set, and that's where that greeting came from. And in this one, I think we're going to say, because of the recent COVID, I feel this is really relevant. May this be a Christmas to remember and cherish. because I think quite a lot of us would like to forget last Christmas. So we're going to use that one. I was lucky, I did get to see my family in the brief time that the government allowed us to mix in limited numbers, but I know there were a lot of people that didn't. And again, we're going to go back to our trick of using the grid paper to get the greetings straight, and then putting our block down on the top of it. And I'm going to stamp this in cherry cobbler to match the base card. My cherry cobbler ink pad has recently been re-inked. I'm just going to show it to you for a laugh. You can see this is a very well used ink pad. Now, I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I think, for 7 or 8 years. And before that, I bought Stampin' Up products. And this is one of the first ink pads I bought. And you can see it's got embossing powder and all sorts of stuff on it, but it still keeps going strong. And obviously, we can buy the re-inkers, which enable us to give it a little bit more life. So again, I'm using the grid paper to line up my inside piece of paper to make sure I've got it straight, and I'm going to stamp that greeting hopefully in the middle. Okay, that's straight enough for me. Okay, and then just put that stamp to one side, and then we're going to stick that in there. So going back to that really tired looking stamp pad, it's about 8 or 9 years old. So that just goes to show you what good quality the Stampin' Up stamp pads are. I think my glue might finally have given up the ghost. Yep, that's not going to play ball. So I'm just gonna, we've got a little bit top and bottom. I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Seal and just run some down the sides. Oh, goodness me, I can't go in a straight line. Okay. And then we'll stick that in. So that means I'm going to have to be careful lining it up because I'm not got any wiggle room. So we're lining that up with the paper on the other side, making sure it's over the crease. And then we'll drop that down. There we go. So there we are. So there's our finished card. So we've got some nice contrast with the design series paper there. We've got somewhere to write our greeting. And when it folds up, we've got a quick and easy card to make. As I said, perfect for batch making. You could sit and cut and score all of your base cards, and then you could sit with your designer series paper scraps or your designer series sheets and cut out the panels, and then that's quite a quick card to assemble, but hopefully you think looks quite effective. Okay, so that's all from me for today, and hopefully I'll be back soon with 1 or 2 more ideas for your Christmas crafting. They may not always be cards, but check back in to see what I can come up with. I hope you're all getting on well with your Christmas stamping, and I will see you all again soon. Happy stamping, and bye for now.